Reflection lets a program look at its own structure while it's running, inspecting classes, calling methods, and reading fields it was never told about at compile time. Most of the time, your code just runs. It calls the functions you wrote using the names you gave them. But some code does something stranger. It asks questions about itself while it's executing. What class is this object? What methods does it have? Does this method have a special annotation attached to it? That's reflection, the ability of a running program to examine and sometimes modify its own structure, its classes, methods, fields, and interfaces, without knowing any of that in advance. It sounds abstract, but you've almost certainly used software built on it. Every time a JSON library turns an object into text without you writing conversion code by hand, reflection is doing the work behind the scenes. So what exactly is reflection mechanically? Every compiled program carries metadata alongside its instructions, a description of every class, every method signature, every field name and type. Normally that metadata just sits there, used by the compiler and then forgot. Reflection is the API that lets your running program read that metadata itself. In Java, you call getClass on an object and get back a class instance describing it. In Python, everything is already reflective by default. Dir, getAttr, and type expose an object's shape at any moment. In C#, system.reflection gives you the same access. The key idea is the same everywhere. Instead of the programmer hardcoding which method to call, the program discovers that information while it's running and decides dynamically. Here's what that looks like in practice. Suppose you have an object of some unknown type. With reflection, you can ask it, what class are you? What public methods do you expose? What parameters does each one expect? What annotations or attributes are attached to you? All of that is available as data. You can loop over the list of methods, check their names, inspect their return types, and read custom metadata developer attached, like an annotation marking a field as required or a method as a test case. None of this requires the object's type to be known when the calling code was written. The type could be loaded from a plugin file the compiler never saw. Reflection turns static structure into something you can query like a database. Inspecting structure is only half the story. Reflection can also act on it. Once you've found a method by name, you can invoke it, passing in arguments, even though your code never wrote out that method's name literally. This is how dependency injection frameworks work. You annotate a field with something like @inject, and at startup the framework scans your classes, finds every field with that annotation, figures out what type it needs, constructs the right object, and reflectively assigns it, all without you writing a single line of wiring code. The same mechanism lets a test runner find every method named test something in a file and call each one automatically, or let a serializer walk an object's fields and write each one to JSON using nothing but its name and type. Once you know to look for it, reflection is everywhere. Object relational mappers use it to match your class's fields to columns in a database table, without you writing a single insert statement. Dependency injection containers, like Spring in Java or ASP.NET's built-in DI, use it to wire together entire application graphs from a handful of annotations. Testing frameworks use it to discover and run every test method automatically. Plugin systems use it to load a class from a file the core application has never seen and still call its methods safely. Even IDE autocomplete leans on reflection like metadata to know what a method expects. Almost every framework whose selling point is just annotate it and it works is running reflection quietly underneath that convenience. That convenience isn't free. A direct method call is one of the cheapest operations a computer performs. The compiler often knows exactly which instruction to jump to before the program even runs. A reflective call skips that shortcut. The runtime has to look up the method by name, verify it exists, check access rules, and only then invoke it, work that repeats on every single call unless the framework caches the result. That's measurably slower, sometimes by 1 or 2 orders of magnitude, and it also blocks certain compiler optimizations, because the compiler can no longer prove which code path will actually run. This is exactly why frameworks that lean on reflection do so at startup, when wiring the application together, and switch to normal fast calls once everything is set up. Reflection also has a sharper edge. It can break the rules the language is supposed to enforce. Most languages let you mark a field or method private specifically so outside code can't touch it. Reflection can often bypass that protection entirely, reading or overwriting private state directly, which is exactly the kind of access a security-conscious codebase tries to prevent. It's also a common ingredient in deserialization vulnerabilities. An attacker crafts input that once reflectively deserialized, ends up instantiating classes and calling methods the developer never intended to expose that way. None of this makes reflection unsafe by nature, but it does mean any code path that accepts untrusted input and feeds it into a reflective call deserves the same scrutiny you give a raw SQL query built from user text. So when should you actually reach for reflection yourself? Rarely, for ordinary application logic, if you already know the type at compile time, a direct call is faster, safer, and far easier to read. Reflection earns its place when you're building infrastructure that has to work with types it can't know about in advance. A serialization library, a test runner, a plugin loader, a dependency injection container. In those cases, there's often no alternative. The whole point is handling code nobody has written yet. The rule of thumb that holds up across languages: write the framework with reflection, write the application on top of it without needing to. That split is exactly why reflection can feel invisible in daily coding, yet sits underneath nearly every modern framework you rely on. Thanks for watching.